This is the D6 generation.
Dice are our vice.
Creating not too horrible content since 2008.
Are you crazy? That's like 400 hours of gamer nonsense.
Oh, I think we're well past that.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to listening
Welcome back. Craig's not here to do that, so
No,
I
he's
felt like
not.
I had to.
Welcome back to another D6G pip with Russ and Raef. And first of all, Craig is a wimp because he's not playing Warmachine.
Wimpy.
So we want to just get that.
We're hefty.
there.
So I'm doing all the 80s and 90s.
He's doing all that
references.
Shatterpoint stuff.
Shatterpoint. Like, come on, it's Star Wars again.
Plus, we're playing the OG because the creators of Shatterpoint
I know.
were the OG.
I know. They're like, I run out of ideas, so I'm going to go do another game. And we're like, yeah, but your best game is still back here.
That's right. That's
buddies.
right. No,
So,
no,
yeah.
but all being
all the love is
yeah.
just War Machine's better.
Yeah, War
No
Machine's
hate.
better, but no hate.
Just War Machine love. That's all it's.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we just wanted to throw some smack around for Craig. Okay, on to more fun stuff.
Yes.
And I did give him props. It balances out because I said it's not called Grey Chop. It's called Gallant Chop. So
Gallant,
now
yes.
it's equaled out in the universe. I
Yeah.
gave him kudos, and now I'm giving him crap. And yeah.
Yeah, so Craig definitely deserves kudos for being probably one of the earliest podcasters to talk about this technique since we've
Correct.
been doing this in 2008.
Yep.
And he was
agree.
talking about it pretty much that year.
Before then.
Yeah, so I feel like Craig was one of the earliest people on the internet talking about the technique that is now known as Grey
Grey
Chop.
Chop.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yes,
So
yes, or
now-
Slap Chop or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we give Craig the OG on that.
I want to talk to you about several things. So we're playing our very last battle.
Yeah, in the
Battle 9 in the Black Tide campaign. In
Season 1.
Season 1 in
Yeah.
Warmachine. Now,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, how incredible is that?
I know.
We're going to be
Did
playing.
we have a prediction about this? I feel like
think
we should
did.
I hope so.
But I've got to look them up. I forget.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to talk about two areas. One,
Okay.
I'm really curious to think about the list. Like, how did you come up with your list?
For this mission.
Yep.
So let's talk about the mission first to give
Yes.
context for the list.
Yep, but
Sure.
what I'm doing
Yeah.
now is I'm giving the overview for the listener.
Okay.
Okay.
Please do.
And the second thing
Continue.
I would like to talk about is the wall, the mission, and there were some parameters.
Oh, the wall. It's like
And we've got some interpretation.
we're like in
gonna
Westeros now.
have. Yes, we got some interpretation about
Okay.
the wall. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, scratching your head, it's okay. We're going to explain it all.
Right.
But if you want to pause, you would go to your Warmachine app.
Yeah, if you're a War Machine
You would
player.
Scroll. Oh, you don't even have to be. You
It's free. It is free.
Right.
Yeah.
You just go to. I don't know if the Black Tide's free actually though.
The library, there's parts of the library that are free.
Yeah.
And parts of the library you have to be subscribing for whatever it is.
Yes.
$8,
So you want to
$9
scroll
a month.
down. You want to go
Yeah.
to Black Tide,
Yeah.
Book 3 or Chapter 3 or whatever,
see what
Mission
it is.
9.
Let me just make sure I
if
get it
you
right.
want to.
Yeah, so there's a section in the library called Black Tide Part 1
Yep.
and Black Tide Part 2.
You wanna be in
When
Part
we
1.
started, there was only Black Tide. Part 2 came out later. And then Black Tide Part 1 is subdivided into 3 parts.
Yes.
Just to make it more
Part
confusing.
1, Subpart 1.
If you go into Black Tide Part 1, Black Tide Part 3,
Yep.
in that document, you will find Scenario 9.
Yes.
Which is pronounced scenario, not scenario. I had someone from England correct me. And Scenario 9 is called At the Gates.
Charlie the Cherub just gained his wings.
Yes, he was a little bell. But that is the final scenario in Black Tide
Yep.
Part 1.
Okay. So before we talk about list creation, we've got basically it's this. There's a wall. There's a castle wall. Okay.
There is.
I'm the attacker because I've been the attacker the whole campaign. You're
Yeah,
the
yeah.
defender because you're the defender.
You're technically the invader.
Invader.
And I am the defender. And yes, you are at the gates of my final city here, and I'm
Yep.
trying to stop you from invading through the front wall.
And
Maybe.
and it's I want to already say it's not fair. You're going to win. It's cheater, pants on fire.
Well, no, it's total number of chess points whether you win.
No, I know, but this mission, you're going to like wipe the floor with me.
No, I'm not.
Frontwards.
No, I'm not.
Backwards.
No way. No,
Oh, yeah.
this mission. Okay, let's talk about this
Let's
mission.
talk about the
Okay.
mission.
So, you want me to read the fluff?
Yes.
Oh, here it is. I will do a dramatic reading since Craig is not here.
Right.
And all I can think about is
he's
like
off playing
Star Wars
Shadow.
quotes and Star Wars, and we're going to talk about War Machine in an OG universe
Right.
that was created in the last 30 years. Okay, so not that, of course we love Star Wars, so that goes without saying. All right. So here we go. All right. So at the gates, the enemy which is Raef. The enemy waits with torch and ladder and ram. The defenders, that's me, wait with cannon and sword and wall. There is no more time for fear, no more time for hesitation or doubt. It will be all decided here. If the waves from the sea will break upon the rocks, or if the battering will tear us down to our foundation. Dun, 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 dun. That's where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in essence, you've got 2 objectives behind your castle wall. Mm-hmm. I've got 2 objectives in front of the castle wall.
Correct.
Okay. And if I'm on my objective, I get weedy points.
Oh, what?
Teeny tiny
both sides.
points.
Yeah.
And if you're on your objectives, you get weedy
1 control
dinky
point per turn. You control the objective on your side of the wall.
Yep. Small.
Perspective. But then you get big points.
Big points.
For controlling the objectives on the other side of the wall.
Correct.
Yeah.
I do get a little bonus if I knock down your gate.
Yes.
I get 2.
You get. This is where I think
Control
it's balanced.
points.
So presumably each round we're both going to be cranking out 2 CP each by staying on our control points. Now the downside of that is you're going to sacrifice some combat ability to keep those things held. But let's presume you are for a moment.
Yep.
Then if we do nothing but sit there and shoot each other, all you got to do is shoot my gates down, and you're going to end with more points than I do.
Yeah.
So I actually have to sally forth beyond the wall in order to score more points than you will.
You don't think you can deploy on top of the wall? Because you can.
I can, but I can't get down the other side of it.
I know. That's what I wanted to talk about.
So unless I have somebody with flight or incorporeal,
right,
I can't pass through the wall. So I either have to come out the gate and expose myself to your withering fire of Khador awesomeness, or hide behind the wall, but only be settling for medium.
But my objective points are easily within the range of your guns.
Yes,
you can sit on
but I
top
still
of
got to
the
get
wall.
out.
But no, you don't, because you just can sit up there. I mean, I have ways to deal with this.
You can shoot me.
But you can sit up there.
Yes.
No, I can't, because you're +6 defense. It's +4 for being cover. The wall counts as cover.
Yep.
And it's elevated.
No, elevated doesn't give you extra defense.
I didn't re-look it
I
up,
think
but I
elevated
just
gives you
brain,
plunging fire. I think
just +2.
I think so. I'm gonna look up elevated,
Okay,
sure.
that makes me feel a little better.
I don't think elevation gives you additional defense.
Okay,
points. I could be wrong.
I was doing
about
that from memory. I didn't look it up.
But also, defense doesn't stack. So if cover counts as if elevation counts as cover and the wall counts as cover, it's still just cover. It's not cover.
I think you may be. Well, I think it would be +6 because elevation's different.
I'm
going
to look it up
while
you
I'm
keep
nannering on.
You keep rambling on about your complaints, and I'm going to look this up.
I'm looking at this as the Signarian Jacks, which are known for shooting, and troopers.
Sure, okay.
And you have can openers. That's what I call them now, which halves my armor. I'm going to be friggin' sitting ducks. And then the other thing that made me irritated, I'm directing this directly at Matt Wilson because I know he listens. Okay?
He does listen to the show.
Okay.
All right.
The wall is cover. Cover gives +4 defense against ranged, and I think it's +2 defense in melee.
Okay.
I get 3 mobile cover points. Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. You put them right on your objectives.
Nope. No, I can't because remember the rule, you can't put terrain pieces or whatever near there.
Right, there's a certain distance.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now, here's the funny thing. The mission says, oh, no. These aren't cover. These are mission cover. I only get +2.
You are correct. I am +4 on defense because the elevation's +2, and then it's not the same as cover. And then I also have cover, so I'm +4.
You're +6.
Why am I +6?
The cover gives you +4 against range attacks.
Cover by itself does?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. +6. That's fantastic.
Yes.
So you got to get through my gate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't shooting you off the wall.
Well, but you do have things that like drop defense to like dirt.
Stationary.
Yeah, that's a good
I gotta
one.
hit you.
Yeah.
I have to critically hit you.
I just want the record to show all the whining that's happening right now on Granger's side of the table, because when he wins this battle, and I feel like he's probably going to, I'm going to say I told you so. Neener, which we'll record at the end of this episode. So you don't have to wait till another episode. We're going to record 15 or so minutes now about the pregame. You're going to hear Raef whining. See, people used to love this show because it felt like they were talking to the Game of Friends. Here it is.
Right.
You're right here with us. We're about to play. And all I've got is Raef going, mission parameters. So I'm excited.
That's just not fair. +6 defense.
Well, it's a wall.
I will warn you, in all fairness, I took things to move you around.
I'm sure
like,
you
you're
did.
going to camp up there? Fine. I'm going to be
sure you did. The problem is, I can't.
off.
Here's the thing. If I camp on the wall,
Yep.
and you can hold your objectives.
You're going to shoot me right off of those objectives.
No, but if you can hold your objectives, I have to go out. At some point,
you're going to shoot me. I will
leave
have
the fort.
nothing on the objectives.
I don't think I can outshoot Kador anymore. Those little Gatling gun Guys,
You're going to be having
I'm sure
me.
you're bringing those little Gatling gun dudes because you just got them. They just came in the mail. You've painted them. They're ready to go. They're some of the coolest models ever made for Khador.
Well, I might know.
And the fluff is awesome. And they have routinely, the only time they didn't devastate my entire army was the time that I focused everything I had on killing them in like turn 1.
That's true.
They are amazing.
They
I
are
will be
amazing.
shocked if you don't take them.
Well, we're gonna
and they
do-
fire so many bullets. I could have defense 20 you'd still hit me.
We're going to end with what list we brought.
Okay.
So the listeners will be able to hear before the game. Now, I've got
Can
another...
I voice my concerns?
I have another... No,
Yeah.
not yet. I'm ramped up about
All right,
this.
okay, here
I've
we
had
go.
a big
All right.
coffee.
All right. All right, good.
Here's
Yeah.
my other question
Dangerous.
for you. And I don't fault the mission writers for this. We have to figure this out.
The
Okay.
mission's going to be fine.
What the rules say is...
By the way, there's been some really wacky bias missions. This
Oh
campaign.
yeah, totally.
So this is not the worst of them.
Do you remember the one? Do you remember the one that I had to walk up and touch the tower
Yes.
and I won?
That was the very first one. Did I complain as much about that as you are now? No, I did not.
I walked up in 2 turns, and you're like, "Is that it?" I'm like, "That's it."
That was it. So, I'm just saying.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
You deploy. Here's what it says. You're in your side of the wall.
Yes.
Okay. You touch the base. It counts as if you're on top of the wall.
Correct, because you can't actually technically enter the objective. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
they
can't-
did that to in case you
fix the
felt or.
But it's also objectives aren't allowed to move into an objective unless
Oh,
you're
I didn't
flight
realize
or
that.
corporeal. So
Okay.
because they've called not an objective because they've called it an obstruction.
Yes, that's right.
Or, I'm sorry, they've called it an obstruction.
It is cover and it counts as an obstruction.
An obstruction you cannot enter unless you can fly or incorporeal.
Okay.
So there's no mechanic to allow me to stand on top of it. So what they did was if you touch the back side of the wall, you're on top of the wall, which I would say applies to both sides.
That's what I was wondering now.
Yeah.
So, are you on, if I want to engage you in melee, I've broken through the gate.
Yeah.
Are you going to be putting
No,
your guys
I think
on
my
top
guys
of the
just
wall?
touch it.
You just touch.
I'm just
okay.
touching it. You can still fight
right,
me
that was
because you can go up
wondering.
the wall. So I can't like hide on the top of the wall and be safe once you're through the gate. So I think if the gate falls, I have to score a lot of points before the gate falls, and I think I have to be outside the gate fighting you directly to keep you from putting all your firepower on the gate. Because Khador could take down an armor 20 gate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have
so I don't think
we
that
have
gate's
ways
gonna
to deal with
I don't think that gate's gonna hold.
I want to say one more thing before you get to say your piece.
So you're gonna have plus 2 CP from turn 2.
yeah, I think that's the plan.
Yeah. Of
I
course
do
it is.
get ladders
Yes.
to be able to scale.
You have ladders, you have battering rams, which you do not need
right.
to take out the gate.
Now listen to this though.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've done this.
Right.
You kill my guy with a ladder. Bye ladder.
Yeah. I
There's
love it.
no more picking up the
I
ladder.
can blow the ladder up.
Yeah.
But you don't need the ladder because you can go through the frickin' gate.
Yeah.
And by the way, the ladders fix the wall problem too, by the way. You just got to get the wall guys there. Yeah. I don't have anything really.
But Jax can.
No.
I don't think Jax can go up the ladder, so I wasn't sure
No,
if I
only
got through.
yes, because you can't give it to Jax. You can't give it to cohort models.
Right.
So the ladders can only be given to regular
But
infantry.
my big guys can.
But here's the fun part. So I do have,
Now let's hear
in
your
addition to the
situation.
wall, I also
Oh yeah, I
have
forgot about this too. You
two
get
cannons.
2 cannons. Oh
Yeah. 2 cannons.
Two
that I
free
can,
more things to shoot.
Well, you've got cover points.
They're +2.
Yeah. And my cannons can shoot, but then they have to reload for a turn. So they can only
Yeah,
fire every
that's
other turn.
every other.
So they're not
Boo-hoo.
awesome. Now, here's my question about the wall.
Boo-hoo.
How high do you think the wall is?
I was wondering that, especially when I pull you off of it.
Because, okay, so here's the thing. We can say the wall is infinitely high.
Yep.
Meaning guys on top of the wall can shoot down. Guys down below can shoot the guys on top of the wall.
They
Really
say
hard to
that
hit.
in the rules.
However, if you were to have something super large, say a battle engine or a colossal, should it be able to shoot over the wall? I'm going to say no, unless you have arcing fire, which ignores terrain.
Okay, I agree.
Does that
with
seem fair?
I agree with that ruling. Yeah.
Now, we could say that colossals could, but we would have had to agree to that before we made our lists because that's a huge advantage.
No, I'm saying no.
Okay, I think it's fair.
No.
So
I think the rules tried to make it be
Right.
it's only
now,
ladders and gate.
Interestingly, the colossal can go touch the wall and then shoot right over it. But we'll just pretend he's holding up his little fingers on the edge of the wall and then shooting over his big guns.
I'm reading it that when you're touching the wall, there's ramps.
Yeah,
And
there's
you've-
some- yeah, you're like on the ramps
And they
or whatever,
didn't want
yeah.
us fooling with
Right.
measurement.
So it's fine.
So it's like you have
And
an
again,
elevator that
they're trying to make a
brings
really, and this
you-
is one of the things that I really like
I
about
do like about this.
So
I'm complaining,
If
but
you
I
want
like
a
it.
super balanced, fair scenario, we should be playing Steamroller, right?
Right,
The Steamroller missions are all that. These are the fun, fluffy campaign missions, which have had fun writing, which have great scenes, and you're supposed to have a debate with your opponent before and make whatever house rules you need to make it work.
Yes.
So I think it's fun, though, we're going to be doing a Castle Town Siege
Me
in
too.
Warmachine. So
And-
that's not a thing we should do.
In fairness, I poked at Matt too, but in fairness, I've been thinking about this mission for 2 weeks.
Yeah, right?
How am I going to overcome his +6 defense?
And here, I will
How
say,
am I going to win?
Are we going to talk about our lists now before we
Yeah,
go?
yeah.
Okay. So we've locked our lists in. We
Yep,
can't
I'm
change
locked
them.
in.
So a couple fun things have happened, and we should probably update folks on this. So one of the fun things that's happened is when we first started playing Warmachine Mk4, there was this promise that they'd be adding more rules for more of the legacy models, so that eventually by Christmas this year, supposedly, by the end of the year, all of our legacy models will have rules. And sure enough, that's been happening. So since we started playing, when we originally played, there were no rules for the legacy Storm Knights, but you could play them as Storm Legion, that kind of stuff. But that's all come out now. And we played with Battle Engines a couple games ago, or at least I did. The Battle Engine rules came out. And now what's kind of fun is the Colossal rules just dropped about like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
And so I thought, well, it's the end campaign game. It's a siege on a city. It'd be awesome to bring a Colossal to the table and just try it out in Mark 5. Or Mark 4. So that's what I'm doing, right? So I have one. So my centerpiece of my army is the Colossal.
Let me guess the caster.
Guess.
Coleman Striker on the horse.
Yes. Well, to be fair,
that's not really much of a guess.
It's the only Coleman Striker available right now. Striker 3 from the old days. Yeah. And also, it's kind of a nice way to end it. It's Striker. He's got to be
How are you going to not pick Striker?
Right. And Striker has some nice spells to augment his
he does.
Jacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting about Colossals now is Colossals are not their own category anymore. So in Mark 3, I believe Colossals were their own model type.
Sort of like cavalry.
With their own special rules. Exactly.
Special rules.
And Battle Engines are still that way. Battle Engines are their own category and special rules. Colossals are not. There are now just 3 categories of Warjack. There's your medium, your light jacks, there's your heavy jacks, and then your Colossals. And what you may have noticed is some abilities, like Jeremiah Cray, right? He gives all of his jacks cavalry. But I reread it. It gives his light and heavy jacks cavalry.
Oh, snap.
Colossal Warjacks would not be affected by that. So the first thing that's interesting is so Colossal is just a new category of Warjack. So all the normal Warjack rules apply. But there are some special rules like they can't be pushed, they can't be moved, they can't be disrupted, which is nice for you. And when AoE hits a Colossal, it doesn't expand past the edge of its base.
Oh, right.
So you can't like AoE off of a 50-inch base or whatever they are.
Right.
So that's a neat little cleanup too they did.
Yep.
So anyway, other than that, pretty much the same as just any other Warjack. They don't have a lot of super complicated rules. The only other thing is there's an S on their damage matrix, which stands for their special ability. So, for example, the Storm...
Cortex, right?
No, the Storm Wall shoots those little electrical missiles.
Yep.
If the S goes out, the electrical missiles stop working.
But I thought the S was subcortex, no?
No.
Something special different.
S stands for special on the Colossals. Okay. And all Colossals have at least one special rule, and that special rule says in its special rule, this is canceled if your S's are knocked out.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So, I got my Colossal, led by Striker.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Colossal is very big.
Yes.
And it's going to take a lot of focus. And we decided to play a 75-point game.
Yes, we went 75 points.
One of the things that's interesting about game sizes is it does introduce requirements around your jack. So first of all, you can't have a Colossal unless you're playing at least 75 or 100 points. So that's the first thing. But the second thing that's interesting is there's a minimum number of jacks that you can have in your list. And it's 2 at 75 points. So the Colossal is 1. But then I went back and forth on this. So here's the thing, Raef. Going against you, I really wanted the Hammerer.
Really?
The Hammerer, he's got 2 big hammers, hitting it like pound 19. Great for killing Khador. Wanted him to run right outside the gate. There's a problem with him. He's only available on the first army list.
Oh, yeah.
Which does not have Striker.
Okay.
Right?
So you ran into that.
I ran into that.
Nice.
And so I didn't like the casters I was going to have access to for this particular scenario. So that's my first problem. My second problem, so that was it. So I went with Coleman. Then I was like, okay, when last we fought, it turned out that the battle engine, the Storm Strider, worked really, really well.
Yes.
And all the Stormsmiths rules are out now. And I really wanted to field the Stormsmiths, especially since the Storm Wall shoots out the little missiles that land into the ground and then basically function as Stormsmiths. And your Stormsmiths can shoot electricity everywhere. So this seems like a brilliant plan.
Which Colossal did you go with?
The Storm Wall, the OG, the original.
Okay.
Now, there's a problem with this whole plan.
Is that the one that shoots the little tripod that draws the line and disrupts?
Yeah, he's
the other one.
No, he does. She shoots a little pod that basically counts as a storm caller for a stormsmith, but then also it shoots a little line back to him.
Yeah.
And then my other thinking was those little pods are models on the table, so they get in your way. So the nice thing is I can pop them down and disrupt charge lanes and things like that. So that seems like a fun thing to do. So I got that going for me. I got the only other jack I could take, though, because I did not have the Hammersmith. I discovered another synergy. And to find the points for this other synergy, I had to, shall we say, take a cheap jack as my second required jack.
Interesting.
So I decided to go with the Lancer.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the Lancer seems like a no-brainer because you stick him on that wall we just talked about, and Striker's like raining down all of his offensive spells that blow you backwards. He's an arc node, right? He's got a spell that blows you back, which would be great knocking you off your objectives, right? Blah, 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 blah. So it feels like a Lancer would be great. I really wanted Old Rowdy because Old Rowdy has a synergy with Striker. It's his companion Jack. They can't be knocked down. They both get +2 defense. Makes it harder for you to cast or kill. You're eventually coming through that freaking gate. It's only a matter of time. So I'm a little nervous about cast or kill, honestly. But I can put the Lancer on the wall. So the only Jacks I have are my Colossal and my Lancer. But then I got my Battle Engine. So you're going to be facing down 2 of the big plates. Now, here's the interesting thing. Here's the synergy I found. Then I figured I got to have dudes on the wall. So I took Storm Guard. Okay. Not Storm Blades, Storm Guard, which is counterintuitive with Striker because Striker has a synergy with Storm Blades that makes it better to hit. But the Storm Guard each come with a gun in their unit that shoots lightning AoE, POW 14. So these things are shooting POW 14. The giant Storm Strider shooting POW 14 lightning. Everything's lightning. Everything can cause disruption. That's all great. There's a problem with this whole plan, though. And all the lightning arcs out. POW 10 here, POW 10 there, yada, yada. That's all great. There's a problem. POW 14 doesn't really punch through a lot of the Khador armor. No. And here's the other problem I had. Striker's list does not have any of the half armor penetration stuff. Nope. So that's the other problem. Now, Brisbane would have, I mean, the first would have, but only their Hunter would have had it. So it would have had 1. So it would have had to go to the new stuff, Mark 4, to do that trick I did on you last time, but then I wouldn't have had the Storm Wall. No Colossal. And I really wanted the fluff of the Storm Wall plus the final thing. So I don't think I took the most powerful as possible, but I found a synergy that we have yet to try in my list.
You don't have to reveal it now.
Okay. I will just say that I found Catherine Lattimore.
She's the Journeyman Warcaster?
No. She is a solo cavalry storm knight. Okay. And she's a dragoon, meaning she can be, if her horse is killed, she's on foot.
I have one of those.
You got to kill her twice, right? So she has a synergy that will really empower my overall plan. Okay. And I will not reveal till after the show. And we'll see if Raef realize. I don't know if the synergy is going to work, by the way. I have my misgivings, but I thought it'd be fun to try. Plus, I get my Colossal on the table. Plus, I get Striker. So it's going to be fun no matter what. It's going to be fun no matter what. But I don't like my chances. I feel like I've got even money going in here. Okay. All right. What'd you take?
All right. I, too, wanted to field the Colossal. Yeah. So guess what? You got no Gatling gun guys.
Ooh, that's right.
No Gatling gun guys. Oh, interesting. That's the new list.
I don't know if I can hurt your Colossal.
So now that I have a Colossal, I took the most winningest Warcaster against you, Sorsha. So you're facing Sorsha.
Oh, this is pretty OG.
And all her Man of War goodness.
Sorsha and Striker.
Yep, and we've got a field of the good old-fashioned Man of War with the blades and the shield guns.
Oh, nice. Are you 100% rep? I'm 100% rep and painted, by the way.
Kinda. Let's see what you... Right. No. Technically, no, but like 90.
Okay, I'll take it.
Because here's what I did. My other unit of Man of War with the shields and the axes are solos.
Ooh,
they are Greyforge Seers.
Yeah.
And another one is a Battle Mechanic. So they're Men of War, and they're that, but they're not 100% rep.
No, but they're still... But they're pretty... Even the Arcing Lightning won't kill them because they're in Man of War suits, which is really annoying.
Well, here's why I took those. I was going to take just 2 troops and have fun, but you're going to be disrupting me all over the freaking place.
That's the plan.
So the Seers and the Battle Mechanics...
I know they can cancel disruption.
Focus. They're like my...
Now, your Colossals immune to disruption, which is pretty sweet.
Okay. I also took a Jack you have never faced, and I have never fielded.
Really?
In the entire world, I've played Khador.
And you've owned this forever?
No, I don't own it. So
this is a non-rep piece?
It's a non-rep. I'll have a painted piece. All right. And you'll be fine with what it is.
Okay.
But, nope, never owned it. And let's just say it has special abilities in siege situations.
I really wanted to take Strange Ways with me, which is a solo that could be in this list. And I have the model, but he's unpainted. He's just metal.
Yeah.
But he heals, but he's a mechanic. And he can also Jack Marshall, and he can also boost things. Interestingly, you can't put Colossals on a Marshal either. That's another rule.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Which is nice, yeah.
That makes sense.
So I wanted him, but because I had nothing that looks like him painted, I just felt like it was wrong. So,
yeah, that's why I didn't field the new stuff.
Yeah, but I did spend the time.
I own the new stuff, so I can't in good conscience play them until they're
But my Colossal was never finished. I know you finished yours. My base wasn't done. There's some small details. So I spent the time finishing him. So it was a good excuse to finish the Colossal.
Okay. So we're going to be Colossal, eat Colossal.
Colossal on Colossal. I do have a wall in the way. I don't think that gate's going to stop a Colossal or all your other stuff. The gate's going down in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe turn 2 tops.
Well,
so
I'm
feel
slow,
like,
don't forget.
So I feel like you've got a point advantage going into the combat. And I don't know how I'm going to sneak by you and grab an objective out there without being like stomped by your Colossal.
Stomped or something.
And I don't know how you're going to sneak by me and not get stomped, but you don't have to sneak by me. That's what I think makes this equal.
Yeah.
I got a wall, but you just got to shoot the gate.
Yeah.
Or punch
That's
it.
right, to get it through.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting. We'll see
It's
what
going to be
happens.
interesting, yeah.
All right. That's the preamble.
That's the preamble.
We're going to go play the game.
Yep.
I want to come back and let you know how it went.
You're listening to the D6 generation. Born to game.
Hey, we're back from our game here. An exciting battle it was, too.
Yes.
Mr. Granger. Exciting.
I'm licking my wounds.
Action-packed adventure.
It was, yes.
It took us so it was a 75-point battle.
Mm-hmm.
We played for about an hour and a half, and then we went to dinner.
Yep.
And then we got back from dinner, played for like another hour and a half-ish.
Yep.
So I'd say inside 3 hours, feels like.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Big battles you mentioned, giant fort wall, I'm defending the wall. We already had you thought it was in the bag for me.
Yes.
I was feeling not so in the bag for me, but I had my trick up my sleeve. I was hoping it was going to work out.
Yep.
So how did the opening start for you? How did you feel about it?
I felt really good. So first of all, we played with Collossals, which was super
Yeah,
fun.
they
I
were
played
awesome.
with a bunch of. I played the Sorcia Mk4.
I like how the Collossals worked too. They weren't overwhelming.
No.
You know, I felt like the old rules were Collossals felt like a whole new game was being added in.
Yeah.
Didn't feel that way at all. Just
No.
felt like fancy jacks. But they still
Yes.
felt big and powerful.
Yes, and I like that a lot of things don't affect them. You can't
Yeah.
make them stationary. My frost didn't.
Yeah, like
give them
concealment doesn't do anything. They're pretty
Yeah.
much just out there,
They're
and
just
their
out
stats
there.
are on the card.
You can
do
shoot
it.
them.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah. There's
that
no hiding the
was-
Colossal.
No. So I like that. I made it to the wall in much more pieces without being in pieces. I was very happy.
I was nervous.
how I
All
got
my
to the wall.
shooting was doing nothing material. I mean, I did like nicks and ting here and there, but none of my tricks seemed to be working.
No,
As you
nothing.
closed in on-
You could
no.
not. You could barely scratch the paint.
Yeah, which is
As I got
scary
to the
because
wall.
Khador, when they're getting closer and your Signar army, it's like, uh-oh, here they come.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the free cannons on the wall. They're not really killing
They
anything.
weren't doing anything.
You're using your cover emplacements really well to make
Yep.
blast resistance, and like nothing was sticking.
Did you like how I stealthed my weakest my little repair
Yes.
guys? I'm like, he's gonna
Yes.
be killing them.
Yeah.
And they were stealth, so you couldn't kill them.
It was great.
Yeah, so my original strategy, which you saw, but the people listening didn't, was forget my 2 objectives.
Right.
I need to get through that wall, get 2 points, get into your backfield, kill some stuff, sit on your objectives, get 6 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points.
Sounds like a solid plan.
So that was the plan.
Yeah.
Where we should say, do you want to say who won? You say who won.
I did manage to pull out a victory.
Yes.
But there was a point where Stryker got down to 5 health, my Warcaster.
Yes.
So Raef had me, but then Raef was doing the math on the campaign. I think I don't want to speak for you.
Yes, that's right.
And decided so it's kind of neat about the new Warmachine. A lot of the scenarios reward winning not by caster kill, but by scenario victory. So in the campaign, you score more points by winning by scenario
By
than by
objective.
caster kill. You still win by caster kill, but you don't get quite as many points.
Right.
So I think you did the math on that, and we're kind of like, well, my victory's more glorious.
Correct. That's right.
If I win by victory.
Yes.
By scenario. So you decided to hold off on killing Stryker.
Killing Striker, yep.
And I don't know if I want to call it hubris, but I think that hubris cost you the game.
Well, it wasn't pride. It was more
Yeah.
2 things. One was I was like, I don't want the game to end. I want to see how these units use. We had the Colossals hadn't done anything yet. Basically, what happened was my Marauder wrecked the wall, and my
Instantly
men
destroyed the gate, which we knew was going to happen.
blew it apart.
I
splintered it.
tried to. Well, one of the big errors I made. So there's a rule in the campaign which says my models can go through the gate, as if it's open
as if
terrain.
it's open terrain.
So my plan was, as Rafe closed on the gate, so we had a unit of men of war really close to the gate. His Marauder was close to the gate, and the Marauder was armed with a battering ram, which is a special thing in this scenario, which makes it easy to blow the gate up. His Colossal's closing in. I'm like, no problem. My plan was, I have my Storm Strider, which is on the giant base, battle engine. I have my Colossal giant base, and my plan was to go to the gate, walk through the gate, and basically plug the gate. Prevent the gate from being destroyed, because the gate is 2
Behind
victory points for Rafe. And then I guys could walk out there. My Colossal's hitting with POW 20 fists. Like, he'll just destroy this stuff, right? So I would make the battle right in front of the gate, like 2 inches in front of the gate,
Yeah.
and prevent you from having to kill both these giant things before you even get to the gate. But I did not read the rules carefully enough. But Rafe and I have been both really good about, like, before we do anything in our game, we double check a rule.
Yes.
And I'm like, it seems fluffy that I can run through the gate, although it's a little cheesy that I'd run through the gate with the enemies right there. And sure enough, the rules clearly state that we can treat the gate as open terrain as the defender as long as there are no enemy models within 8 inches of the gate.
Oops.
Ray's models were like within 2 inches of the gate, which means my gate manning people who are like too afraid of the key door at the gates and were like, no, thank you. And my models couldn't leave.
Yes.
Which made me sit there and do another round of shooting and let you pass through the gate and kind of get first shot on my models.
No, I actually think that ended up saving you.
Okay.
Because...
Yeah.
So my Marauder blows the gate apart.
Mm-hmm.
My Men of War run in with extra movement due to the Kovnik and get an axe. I could have had 2 axes, maybe even 3 axes on Striker.
Right.
But I only put 1 axe on Striker because I actually didn't want to kill him too early, thinking I would get the objectives and win more war
And I
chest
intentionally
points.
did have Striker in the center behind the gate to try to draw Rafe into this thing and not go for the objectives on the flank. I didn't think he'd quite have the reach to have multiple chances on Striker. So that was my error. But I was saved by Rafe deciding not to kill me that turn.
And I think you were a little bit surprised, correct me if I'm wrong, that 1 Man of War took him within 5.
Yes. Normally Striker
5
gets
points
missed
of
a
his
lot.
life.
You rolled really well there.
Yeah, I rolled well there.
Yeah.
So I had the chance, slept on it. Here's where I think it saved you. Because you had your battle engine and your Colossal behind the gate, you made gate number 2.
I did. I closed them in.
You closed them in.
And I popped Striker's feet so they could all charge when they closed in.
Yes.
And Striker's feet is not only do you get free charges, but you auto hit on the charge and you get an additional die in addition to the auto charge boost. So basically you're hitting super hard. So when you have battle engines and Colossals charging with those kinds of stats, you're going to wreck whatever's in the middle.
I thought you were going to do one of 2 things. And so anyway, let me back up. Where that allowed you to win, in my opinion, was that was too much of a clog. Sure, my Colossal took your Colossal out, right? And with other pieces. But I was too long, I couldn't get to your objectives.
Yes.
What I thought you were going to do in this battle was sit on top of the wall with your armor-piercing rounds, your 2 snipers, your 1 jack, your hunter jack.
Didn't take that list this time.
And you did it, and just destroy me. Or, it's just so funny how we defeat ourselves in our own brain. I thought you were going to camp outside the gate and make me fight, and then I'd have room. I could wreck your guys.
Right.
Because I took my Man of War armor, which gives me flank Man of War, which gives me extra dice. I was planning in my brain to wreck you.
But you never got really used the flank thing much.
No, because you were so far back, I couldn't get my Man of War in there.
Right.
I mean, the ones that we just charged Striker, you had killed with the charge.
And what did work out was the few guys I had on the wall shooting, I have my electrical shield guard guys, right? Or storm guard guys shooting out there. And one of the electrical guys got lucky and took out your whole infantry unit of mechanics.
Yes.
Which prevented you from capturing one objective. I don't know if that was what you were planning on doing.
No, I was never planning
But it sort of took it off the table. So Rafe never went for his objectives on his side to get plus 2 CP around or control points around. But I was scoring mine 1 for each. So it'd be 2.
Oh, 2, yeah.
So I was scoring 2 around. So quickly I was racking up the victory points and Rafe was going to have a hard time catching it. Also in the late game, I was out to sneak a couple models out through the gate while the main fight was happening just inside the gate and run for an objective as well, which would have been on Rafe's side of the table, which would have been 3 CP around.
Yes.
So I was in a situation to really jack those points up, and quickly Rafe realized the only win was caster kill.
Caster kill. And at that point, you knew that too, and you hid what's his name.
Yeah, so at that point, you made a big press. So you took out my Colossal, which was awesome. Your Colossal hit my Colossal, damaged him severely, like the 4 health left. But then Sorsha boldly charged in, taking out my Colossal in a glorious moment and leaving the gate ill-defended. And then she popped her feet of clouds.
Yep.
Which went everywhere. What were you thinking when you popped the clouds?
Well, that was my error too. Mm-hmm. I think what I was thinking was I wanted to pop the clouds to kill your guys off of the objective. And I didn't do that. I spread my clouds around to try to do too much. Yeah. And had I taken you off the objective, still though, because of your maneuver out into the field to get the 3-point objective, you would have won turn 5 or 6.
So
you really did play the scenario very well.
Oh, thanks.
I'm happy with how I thought it was going to be decimated anyway, and I'm a little bit disappointed in myself and how slow it took me to get not to get to the gate. That was great. But once inside the gate, it was such a log jam.
It was because of the two big guys that slowed it down.
Which is 3 with
and
your
then the counterattack, and then my super secret synergy that I didn't explain in the pre-show, right? In the lead up to this, because I didn't want to spoil it for you. And you were kind enough to say, don't spoil it. Let's wait and see what happens.
Yep.
So, as Raef mentioned, there's a list, the Mark IV Prime list for the Storm Legion can throw a lot of guns that half your armor. This is a great list for shooting Khador. I did not take that list, though, because there's no Stormwall on that list, and I really thought Epic Final Battle.
The Colossal.
Be great to have Striker. Yeah, and Stormwall is my Colossal. Get the Colossal in there, right? And also the Battle Engine, which is also not in there, right? They do have a Battle Engine, but it's that Chariot thing. So I want to get the classic stuff out. I thought it'd be fun. Downside was, how do you damage them with all that lightning? Because the lightning doesn't really hurt your Man of War list very well. Because your guys are walking around in shield wall armor 20, 22, 21, and the lightning's all POW 10, even when the guns are POW 14. But the synergy I found that I really wanted to use, a couple things. I felt like the Stormwall launching its little lightning missiles combined with the Stormsmiths, which when there's more Storm missiles around, add pluses to their hit, pluses to their damage, and the ability to shoot more than once. So I figured I'd get lucky. But then also, Catherine Lattimore was my secret weapon.
Oh, yeah.
What I didn't figure out,
She
the other
was a
thing that
beast.
happens is the Storm Strider, or the Battle Engine, gives you +2 to hit on electrical attacks. So it makes my electrical attacks hit pretty well, but the damage is the problem. But then Lattimore is the opposite of, which I didn't know till recently. She gives you +2 damage to electrical attacks to anything targeting a bad guy within 10 inches of her. So she on the table, plus the Battle Engine, plus all these Stormsmiths, really can create some pretty high, you're talking POW 16, POW 17 stuff coming from the Battle Engine and stuff. And so what was kind of cool was at the very end, Sorcha charged in, and it kind of worked here and there, but it hadn't really had its moment yet.
Right.
And at the very end, Sorcha charges in. I couldn't charge her with Striker because I felt like Striker, if he didn't kill her, he was dead.
Yeah.
And I felt like even if I didn't kill Sorcha, if I ran away with Striker, I'd still have a chance because my CPs are so high. So Striker casts Battle Lust on Lattimore. Now, Battle Lust makes you easier to hit, but it also gives you an extra die in combat. And then the Storm Strider charges Sorcha, does a little bit of damage.
a little
to her.
bit.
But then Lattimore charges Sorcha, does a lot, takes Sorcha down to 2 wounds. Lattimore repositions out.
Yep.
And my last chance, now I've already shot Lattimore once with a electric cannon from one of the Storm Guard units, and your Beast 09 already defended her, so his defense is gone now.
Yep.
So Sorcha's sitting there, she's got really good defense. So then the last Stormsmith walks into range of shooting her. He's got Lattimore boosting him for +2 damage. He's got +2 to hit from the Storm Strider. He's got an additional Stormsmith nearby for another +1. He gets to fire twice. He hits her for exactly 2 extra damage because of Lattimore and kills Sorcha.
Yes.
So
last 2 points of damage.
my dream synergy actually saved the day.
Yes.
So I was pretty excited about that. Only because you decided to go for the big mission win.
Yeah, I had decided that for 2 reasons. One is, like I said, I didn't want the game to end too early, and I wasn't going to win the overall war chest points, which we'll get to in a minute anyway. And we had literally, in all 9 games, I did try for assassination, but it didn't pull off. So I was like, we always go for objective. I'm going to go for objective.
Yeah.
So when you killed Sorcha, I wasn't that angry because victory point wise, I was already losing.
Yeah, I was already
So I
on
wasn't
and on
like,
mission,
"Oh, no."
but I felt like your only hope was caster kill, so I had to
yeah.
caster kill you first before that.
Yeah,
became a
and
thing.
you ran.
And I had nothing left in my army to really hurt your Colossal.
Correct.
So you had basically a healthy Colossal, and I had nothing to
whole
stop
Colossal,
it.
yeah.
Now, it's only 1 activation a turn, but at this point we're all running out of models, so I had to kind of Striker had to run away. I mean, the Battle Engine could have tried to stop the Colossal, but the Colossal would have eaten it for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I had really nothing. And you still have Beast 09, so you were way out powerhousing me, as Khador does. So once
But
Khador's in your lines, you're kind of
It's a great example of objective and missions just always matter.
Yes.
They just
yeah.
always matter. So hindsight being 2020, a mistake I didn't try to get 2 points
Yeah.
because that could have made a slightly difference, and a mistake not to kill your caster when I had the
Yeah.
chance.
And I was thinking about mission because I knew taking the Stormsmiths gives me a bunch of models to run around to hold objectives. Having the 2 infantry squads, even though they don't do much damage to your army, gives me 2 more units to hold objectives.
Hold objectives.
And so
Yeah.
it really was, I had less heavy hitting stuff because I was thinking about objectives.
Right.
Which did save the day, but barely.
Yeah.
Barely. So how did the campaign end?
I think better than barely when you started to go for the one in my field.
Yes. That's when, this
that made it be better than
the Lancer and the one
barely.
Stormsmith running up
Because that
to
would
the
have been 3
objective.
points.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, so yeah, let's talk about how it ended.
Yeah.
So it was ninth game,
Yep.
campaign over. So we calculated war chest points.
Yes.
Do you have it pulled up? Do you want
let me look it up here. So I had, we kept track throughout the league, and Rafe's total points were 17, and my total points were 27. Now, what's interesting about this is when you read the season close. Now, this is season 1, so season 2 is coming. So I think they intentionally didn't want this, regardless of what the points were, to feel like one side was clearly done killing the other.
I have a better view of that. Okay. I think the creators... So I was a little upset when Russ ran away with 6 war chest points early, campaign points early in the series.
Yeah.
Because I had misread a mission. And so I enjoyed reading the ending because it wasn't that you trounced me and I have to go home with my hat in my hand. They narrated the ending to be like, I kind of won too.
Yes.
And that makes it fun
so
to keep
the number of points
back.
you get, the only way you lose, so there's basically 3 tiers of narration, depending on your final points, regardless of your foe's points. So in other words, because I got between 24 and 30, I got the best possible narrated ending.
Yes.
Which doesn't mean I killed every invader.
Exactly.
It just means they got on my beach, but they broke against my city walls, and I was able to hold the cities, right? Which was sort of the end game. Raef, though, because of his score, he got 17, which is right in the middle of the middle, which is called victorious. So you still, invaded my land. You've established a beachhead. Sure, my cities are still standing, but, they know to fear you now, which is also felt about right because I almost died.
Yes.
So it's got this nice sweet spot. Now, if Raef had scored the next tier up, it would have said like he dominated it. Or if either of us had gotten the lowest tier, it would have been like you've endured it, but what a mess you're selling yourself in. So it feels pretty cool. Like it's still anybody's story to tell in the next season.
I even think it feels better just as a game player who doesn't really win these games much.
Well,
overall.
It's a story-based campaign. It's
That's
not
what I
really
mean.
a win-lose thing.
Yeah, it made it be okay to be losing war chest point wise. Because so many times in these campaigns, what happens? Person gets ahead,
right,
and then you, the loser in the campaign, it's no fun because you're just getting the boot on your neck.
Yeah.
They get stronger. There's no way to catch up. So I'm really, really, really liking this more narrative, choose your story kind of ending.
Yeah, I like it too.
I'm playing a lot of the living card game Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of that. If the Eldritch Beast eats you, it's not that you've lost the campaign. It's just a different narrative ending.
Yeah. I like that.
And which I like. It doesn't feel as bad in my heart.
Agreed. And I really like that too. I like that. I think that was a close story. And also the stories it told for both of us felt about right. I don't feel like I slaughtered you. I felt like every game was close.
Yes.
I felt the few games that were blowouts were really mission balance issues. Like both sides had missions. So there was a mission where you wiped me out in 30 seconds because the missions, not all the missions were well balanced. They were fun, but they weren't like simple. Some of them were overly simple. And I had one too where I think you felt like you couldn't win really, but it was kind of neat to see what happened.
Yep.
This last one felt reasonably balanced.
I came way closer to winning than I thought I would.
Yeah, and both of us had opportunities. And there were probably more optimal lists, but we kind of both played for a little bit of fun too, which is okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I played a Warjack I've never played before, just to have the siege component.
And I just really wanted to win the Colossal because they were back. I don't think that was the ideal choice. The ideal choice would have been the gun wall of all armor-piercing firepower and just would have messed you up.
Yeah.
But I really had a blast playing the Colossal. He did what he was hoping he would do. It was fun to see the battle engine on the table again, and all my classic stuff kind of worked. So I appreciate you holding off and giving me a chance to.
And your electricity worked?
And the electricity finally worked against Man of War. Oh my goodness, yeah. But you still need to go into hand-to-hand combat. That's the thing. With the if you go electric, you got to go into hand-to-hand combat. That's part of the problem.
Yeah. Now we're going to play the second round. And we thought about second
season, I think it's called.
Season. We thought about you would do your Brian Bloods and I would do a different faction.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about it like a half hour ago. I'm like, well, one, your Brian Bloods aren't even out yet.
I kind of want to stick with.
So I want to stick with.
Well, the other thing that's interesting is you and I haven't finished painting all of the Prime Mark IV stuff.
Right.
And what's interesting about the next campaign season is so what's interesting about Mark IV Prime armies is they all only have 2 jacks. They have a medium jack and a heavy jack, or light jack and a heavy jack. But you can configure their arms and heads. So they basically just as many jacks as your old list. It's just one guy reconfiguring, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what's interesting about that is they've also included, if you look in the app, there's now a character jack. That's your heavy one. But it's got configurable, like rank upable arms and limbs and heads And in the second campaign, you can spend war chest points to level up your warjack.
Yes.
So I think, but that only exists in the Mark IV Prime stuff.
Yes.
So it might be fun, a new kind of twist for us, to say we're only going to play our Mark IV Prime list and force us to paint our models. Because we haven't, I don't know if I haven't fully painted everything I bought
I haven't
yet.
fully painted, no.
So it could be and that's a good thing to do so that when we finally do get our new, because I'm getting the Brine Bloods and maybe you're going to get another faction too, maybe we get these guys painted before we get another one.
Yeah, that could be fun.
So I like that.
And I think like my character, I think it's called a character or campaign warjack or something.
I think it says, I think it says campaign next to it. Yeah.
It looks like a different model. So
I think
I'm going to
it
do
is,
some research.
But I think you could use your current one as a stand-in, but I kind of want the new one, but I don't know if he's out yet. I have to go look.
Know.
Or maybe it's a parts kit.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a fancy head or fancy
Give something
arms.
to look up.
Now I want to go Google it. Anyway.
That's right.
Well, Raef, thanks for playing that campaign with me. That was so much
that
fun.
was super fun.
I'm looking forward to season 2.
Me too.
And I hope you guys, we are having a blast with Warmachine Mk4. I don't think everything they've said they were going to try to do is starting to come to fruition. I feel like the campaigns are fun. A lot more fluff. I can't even get up at all. There's so much fluff
I can't
in the
even
app.
keep up on it all.
There's steamroller rules now for rock solid competitive play.
And
there's multiple
it's super
leagues.
fun to have an app and be like, oh, they released the Colossal.
Well, it's funny
You have
because
to worry about a
there was a
codex coming
bug.
out.
So this is a great example. So like they release Warmachine Wednesday. Every Wednesday there's an update to the app. And they fix bugs, but also there's usually new stuff. And so about 2 weeks ago they released the Collossals when we're both like, let's use Collossals. And then I noticed when I was building my list on Sunday that there was a bug and you couldn't put Collossals in a 75-point list. You're supposed to be able to, but they only did them for 100 points. And so they goofed. And I was like, well, we'll just make a 100-point list and only build a 75. And then sure enough, Warmachine Monday, it came out early. It was supposed to be Wednesday, but it came out on Monday because of Gen Con this week. And sure enough, they fixed it. So almost as fast as I found the problem, they're fixing it. It feels good. The game feels balanced. I'm really enjoying it. I couldn't be having more fun. And I'm really loving the new models and having a fun time painting them.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So cool. All right, folks. Well, that's where we are in Warmachine. We'll keep you up to date as things progress.
Yes.
Achievement unlocked! You've made it to the end of another D6 Generation episode, the podcast whose humor has universally been acclaimed as not too horrible. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at info@thed6generation.com. If for some inexplicable reason you actually enjoyed this show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Thanks for listening and happy gaming.